Another live video. This live will be getting uploaded to my YouTube channel sometime either today or sometime tomorrow. Now look, we're gonna go ahead and hop right into it. Right now, look, I want to give a huge shout out to the Most High in general for everything. I'm also giving a huge shout out to myself as well for wanting to receive this good information and give out this good information as well. I'm also giving a huge shout out to everyone and to y'all. Y'all literally take energy out of y'all's day to come rock me, show love, support. You feel me? I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all so much more. I love always deeply. I'm also sending good positive energy, good positive protection, good positive feeling, and good positive energy towards everyone always deeply. Also, if you want to buy my ebook, you can. It's literally $10.90. I can go buy that if you would like. If not, it's all good. And let's go ahead and get into the video. Now look, right? In this live video, right? In this live, we're going to be talking about what? Right? We're going to be talking about metas, right? Your metas, right? What are metas? Let's go ahead and get right into it, man. What are metas, right? If you are black, right, you are a meta, right? You are a god, in other words. You are a goddess, in other words. You are a god, in other words, right? See, meta, right? And I'm gonna make a whole, I ain't gonna say I am, but I might, maybe so, but I might make a whole separate video. I might drop a whole YouTube video decoding the show called Black Lightning, right? So, appreciate the like, by the way. But it's this show called Black Lightning, right? And with Black Lightning, right, it's a lot of information about Black Lightning. I'm not gonna get too deep into the Black Lightning show. I do recommend y'all to watch it. I can watch it on Netflix. I do recommend y'all to watch it because it's a lot of information on there. It's a lot of information. Like, you might want to I recommend you to, if you've watched it, I recommend you to watch it again. It's a lot of good information in Black Lightning, but I might make a whole separate video or a whole separate live decoding and breaking that down. But look, right, so metahumans, right? Metahumans, they talk about metahumans a lot in Black Lightning, right? What are metahumans? Metahumans are people with advanced powers, right? You know, very unordinary, very unnormal compared to the normal man or the normal woman, right? Or the normal kid, right? Us black people, right? Even though we are not black, right? We are the meta-humans, right? Even though we aren't humans, we are the metas, right? And like, if you go on Instagram or Facebook, you'll see meta, right? But in reality, that's not what meta really is. You are the meta. If you are so-called black, you are a meta, right? You are a meta, right? You are a god, in other words. Let's get more deeper. You're not just, we can call ourselves metas if we want, but you are a god. Meta means god. You are a god, right? So, because you are a god, right? It's a lot of goddesses and gods walking around this planet. If you are so-called black, yes, you are a god. You are a goddess. You are not normal, right? You can try to fit in. You can try to think like a human, think like a Caucasian or a Neanderthal or whatever you want to do. But you aren't a human, and you never will be a human. You are a goddess. You are a god, right? Your life will never be normal. It was never supposed to be normal. Look at your ether. Your ether isn't normal. What makes you think you're normal? You don't have to do nothing to your hair, and your hair will naturally lock up. You're not normal. You've never been normal, and you never will be normal. What is normal? Now look, right? And I am going to be touching base on Black Lightning here and there, because Black Lightning does play, they do speak a lot of good information. Like I said, I might make a whole separate video. What's up, Jerry? I might make a whole separate video just breaking down Black Lightning, the show Black Lightning. But in Black Lightning, they talk about metas. They call them metas, but they're really guys. They're really goddesses, right? But, you know, they can only put so much truth in these shows and these movies, but I do like the show Black Lightning. Anyways, with metas, right? Metas are advanced beings. They can jump higher. They can run faster. They can focus more faster. They can read a book more quicker, right? A lot of people, it might take them hours or 30 minutes to read a book. But a goddess, a god, a meta, they could read a book in 3 minutes. It's about focus, bro, right? Now look, right? It's about focus, right? So with metas, right? And you can also do your own research as well. Metas are very advanced beings, right? A lot of people on this planet, right? A lot of people on this planet, So look, right, a lot of people on this planet, right? A lot of people on this planet, they are goddesses. In other words, they are goddesses and gods. In other words, they are metas, right? So with metas, right? Metas are a real thing, right? It's a lot of people right now that are in pods, right? A lot of people are in pods. A lot of people are not. A lot of people are in pods. Now you might be asking yourself, if people are actually in pods, how are they surviving in these pods? That is a very great question, right? But the thing is, what a lot of people don't realize is us goddesses and gods, we don't really have to eat food. Now I'm not sitting here telling you to stop eating and drinking food. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that, but we don't really need to eat a lot of food and a lot of liquids. We really don't. We're like plants, right? We don't really, plants. I don't water my plants every day. Like, these are my plants. I don't water my plants every day. I don't water my plants every day, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, plants don't need to be watered every single day. You know what I'm saying? Plants don't also need sunlight every single day. You see what I'm saying, bro? So we are kind of like plants. We actually have, I forgot the name of it, but we actually have something that plants have. So if you are so-called black, we have a certain gene or something. I forgot what it's called, but it's something in us that we have that the plants have as well, right? So we are also connected. Appreciate the subscribe. We're also connected to the plants, right? Originally we used to be different colors, right? We wasn't like black, so-called black or whatever, right? But with a lot of people are in pods, right? And what a lot of y'all don't realize is we don't really need a lot of food like that. A lot of us can really go like a month, and out of that month, maybe eat like 2, maybe 3 times out that whole month. Only had 2, 3 meals the whole month. You don't need a lot of food. You don't. You might think you do. Sometimes I think I do. But in reality, we really don't. Right? It just, right now, we might need a lot of food, yeah. But if we keep tapping in higher and higher and higher, you're not going to need a lot of food. So with the metas, right? It's a lot of metas who walk around this planet, right? It's a lot of shapeshifters that walk around this planet, right? It's Pleiadians that are on this planet right now. A lot of y'all aren't aware of this, right? What are Pleiadians? Pleiadians really might be on this planet, right? A Pleiadian, they kind of look like a white person, a Caucasian person, but they have beautiful tans, right? Beautiful tans, perfect skin, nice physique, right? Kind of look like, they have like the physique of a god, but they have the face of almost like a Caucasian, but like a very beautiful face, very handsome face, right? These aren't like, you know what I'm saying, very attractive beings, right? And with the Pleiadians, a lot of them vibrate pretty high, like 4 or 5D, 60, 70s, up in there or whatever, right? And Pleiadians, a lot of times people don't notice Pleiadians because they look so similar to Caucasians, right? Now look, right? Now look, somebody in the comments, right? Right? Somebody in the comments had texted this, right? Well, commented this, right? And they said, prove it. A 3-day live without food or water, or you're lying. Now look, right? This individual, right? He or she, whoever this individual is, they have the free will. So since they have the free will, they can say as they do. But whatever energy you give out, that is the same energy you get back in return. See, now look, I'm going to give an example, right? I'm going to use this negative comment as an example, right? Now look, I could go on live for 3 days straight, right? And prove it to you, right? But what am I don't get, the thing is, that's ego, right? You see how this agent or whatever this individual is, you see how this low vibrational being tried to tamper with my frequency? A lot of people think I just be on here talking. Notice, I'm on here, we on good vibes, we on good energy. Why did you just comment that? Like you got to pay attention, bro. A lot of people are agents. A lot of people are sentient programs. Right? You see what I'm saying? Right? I know I could go. I know I can fast. I fast all the time. But I don't see, if I was in if I'd have let my ego take control, I could have been like, nah, bro, da-da-da. Right? So you got to pay attention, bro. It's important to pay attention. Because they want you to prove it to them. That's ego. You know who you are. I know who I am better than this person knows who I am. That, first of all, this person doesn't even know who I am, truly. So why would I try to prove it? Don't ever prove anything to no. Why are you trying to prove something to people? Be yourself. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. You don't have to prove it to somebody, right? That's what they want you to do, right? You see what I'm saying? You feel me? Right? Now look, now I'm gonna touch on this real quick, then I'm gonna like get back on topic, right? Because now the person is trying to use reverse psychology, right? Like I've said before, y'all. If I haven't said it, I'm gonna say it now. I'm psychic, bro. That's one of my gifts, that's one of my abilities, that's one of my powers, right? Everybody has their own powers, everybody has their own gifts. Even if you're a human being, you still have powers, you still have gifts. Y'all come from us. Y'all are kind of like an off-brand copy and paste version of us, right? Somewhat. So y'all have powers as well. Even if you don't have a soul, even if you're not a goddess, even if you're not a god, you still have powers, right? Animals have powers, plants have powers, etc. Now look, right, I'm gonna touch on this and I'm gonna get back really on topic. Now the person said, give it back. Give it back, right? I don't care. It's not a negative comment. Practice what you preach, right? Now look, right? This person is saying practice what you preach, right? But what this person is really doing is this person is trying to use reverse psychology. In other words, this person is trying to use a form of manipulation. This person wants me to try to prove it, right? Right? This person, in other words, what this person is trying to do is this person is trying to get me frustrated. This person is trying to get me irritated, right? And because this person feels that they're not irritating me, they continue to comment, right? You see what I'm saying? Now, what this person is doing, this is a low vibrational person, right? And I'm not gonna sit here and put this person down. This person probably doesn't, just probably hasn't tapped in enough with themselves, right? It's pretty sure that's what it is, right? Maybe so, but the thing is right, this is reverse psychology. Oh, practice what you preach. You see how that person tried to slide it in there? What that person is really saying is prove it. Prove what you're saying is right. Even though in reality, I don't have to prove it. You can literally go to Google. You can literally type in, can people go 3 days or 2 days or a day without eating and drinking? You don't have to go to Google. You can simply tap in with yourself and go meditate. You can go tap in with God, tap in with the universe. You don't have to go to Google, right? You see what I'm saying? So when I be saying like agents are real and sentient programs are real, and a lot of these people be energy vampires, etc., this is a good example. Look at what the guy in the comment is, him or woman, whoever this person may be. Look at what they're saying in the comments, right? They're not getting, they want to try to tamper with my energy. But because this person can't tamper with my energy, now they keep commenting. They're getting upset while I'm just on here chilling, vibing with y'all, telling y'all real information, right? Another thing, if too, I'm gonna say this too before I get off this. Another thing, if too, this person thought I was so wrong, right? Why are you trying to prove it to me that I'm wrong, even though I'm not wrong, right? You see what I'm saying? So I'm telling y'all, when I be telling y'all about sentient programs, negative energies, be real, right? They really be real. This is a good example of a low vibrational being trying to tamper, trying to mess with my frequency, right? And what did I tell y'all, bro? I went on live a few days ago and I told y'all. I said it the day before the Mercury retrograde. I told y'all, I was like, bro, once the Mercury retrograde hit, a lot of people's energy gonna be different. A lot of people's energy gonna be different, bro. But look, let's stay focused. Let's get back to the topic of the live. Now look, right? And I don't got nothing against the person, but they are vibrating low, right? They need to tap in with self more. We all do. Anyways, now look, right? With people in pods, right? A lot of people are in pods, right? A lot of people are in pods, right? And the thing is with pods is that some pods are like water pods. What I mean by water pods is some people are in pods and they have water all in their pod. Some people might be in a pod where there's no water at all. There's no like really form of liquid at all, right? Now, the thing with a pod is a pod, depending on what type of pod it is, and depending on that person's avatar, in other words, body and their cells and how the way they move and work and how they're programmed, right? A lot of people can actually live in a pod, right? If you watch the movie Matrix, they was in pods, right? When Neo woke up and he was unplugging the stuff out of his nose or whatever, he was in a pod. He looked around, Trinity was in a pod, everybody was a lot of people was in a pod, right? So a lot of people's bodies and avatars can maintain a long period of time and be in a pod, right? Certain pods, right? Now, with metas, right, it's a lot of shapeshifters on this planet, right? Reptilians, a lot of reptilians know how to shapeshift, right? Another thing is too, right? You don't have to be a reptilian to shapeshift. Shape-shifting is mainly about the photons. It's mainly about how good your focus is, to be honest, because you're channeling an energy, right? Right now, you could phase through a wall. Now, if you tried to phase through a wall right now and you haven't been practicing prana, chi energy, studying, meditating daily, etc., then it might not work at the moment, right? You know what I'm saying? Like let's keep it logical. Let's keep it real, right? You see what I'm saying? We don't want to like just sit here and just, let's keep it logical. Let's keep it real, right? We're still going to talk this spiritual, esoteric information, but we're also going to be real. I'm also going to be real with you in this, right? Now, when it comes to shapeshifters, right, you don't have to be a reptilian to shapeshift. Yes, a lot of reptilians do know how to shapeshift, right? A lot of reptilians are actually fallen gods who are actually black people, right? But they fell in vibration very low, very, 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 very low. And when you are changing vibrations, your body, your avatar, your hair might change, right? I'll give an example. Excuse me. If you watch anime, right? If you watch Bleach, right? Look at Ichigo, right? Notice when, I don't know a lot about Bleach, so I might be wrong, but if you watch Bleach, right, you know how Ichigo had like orange hair or whatever. It was already long, but once he tapped into like this dark version or whatever, dark energy or whatever, his hair got super long, it changed color. And then once he tapped out of that frequency, it changed color. Right, because his energy shifted. In other words, his vibration changed. It's kind of similar to like how these reptilians are, right? So these reptilians, a lot of them are actually goddesses and gods, but when they kept falling in frequency, eventually their hair started changing, their facial structure started changing, etc., right? Etc., right? Shout out Rose. Now look, right? So, now here's another thing too, right? Now, when it comes to shape-shifting, right? Shape-shifting is mainly about the photons. Are you able to match these photons? Are you able to focus enough? Because you have to channel energy to constantly stay in a shape, right? Because you're staying in an energy, right? It's not your real form, but you're staying in that. This is why you can go and watch videos on these shapeshifters kind of like glitching on camera. Because it can be very hard and it can be very difficult to stay in a vibration that's not actually your real actual form, right? That's like me trying to turn into a dolphin. It might be very difficult for me to stay in the dolphin form because that's not my original natural form. That's not one of my original forms. This is one of my original forms at the moment, right? You know what I'm saying? Like this is like, you know what I'm saying? This is one of my original forms. You see what I'm saying? I say one of my original forms is because I am a multi-dimensional being. Right now, if I go hop off live and I go take me a nap, I'm gonna go hop in another body, or I might hop in one of my other bodies, etc. When you are a multi-dimensional being, you have multiple different bodies. In other words, you have multiple different avatars. I have multiple different avatars. This is one of my avatars, yes. But a lot of us who are multi-dimensional beings, a lot of us have multiple different avatars, right? Now, a lot of us have been brainwashed. We've been brainwashed to think that we're all human. No, that's not the clue. Are we all one? If we want to speak genetically speaking, scientifically speaking, etc., universally speaking, etc., yes, we are all one. But is everybody a human being? No, we are not all human beings. That is a lie, right? Now look, right? Us black people, we are goddesses and gods, right? But in the show Black Lightning, they make it seem like they call them metas, right? And in the show Black Lightning, there's all type of different metas. You have some people that are white that are metas, some people that are black that are metas. It might be a Mexican that's a meta, etc., right? But in actuality, that's really like maybe like a cover up, because no Mexican is a meta, no Caucasian is a meta. And I don't say that to be harsh or to be mean. I say that to be truthful. A meta is another word for a god. A human can't be a god, right? A black person, even though we're not black, we are goddesses and gods. So the real metas are only goddesses and gods, are only so-called your black people, right? And the thing is, right, a lot of black people think, oh, we the only black people. No, it's other planets where you'll see people who look similar like us. Basically what I'm saying is this isn't the only planet that has black people on the planet. And that's facts. Excuse me, that's literally facts. Now look, right? Now, what a lot of these scientists do, right? A lot of these very like scientists that are really good at their job, a lot of them get paid on the low or whatever, right? To do test runs or to study these test subjects, right? Right? And a lot of people, everybody has excuse me. Everybody has powers. But like I said, everybody's powers are different. Yes, I said powers with an S. Everybody has powers, but not just that. Everybody has different types of powers. Everybody has more than one power. Now, like I said, one of my powers is I'm psychic. So one of my powers is I'm very good at feeling energy. I'm very good at sensing and reading energy, right? You see what I'm saying? I'm very good at sensing and feeling energy, etc., right? Now, and I have multiple powers inside of being psychic, etc., right? Now look, right, what I want y'all to understand and understand, right, is with your powers, right? A lot of us, it seems very hard or it seems very difficult to tap into your powers, right? Now you might be asking yourself, why does it seem so hard to tap into your powers, right? The reason why it might seem so hard for you to tap into your powers, right, is because, one, you don't think you have powers. If you don't think you have powers, you're not going to be able to really, truly tap into that power because, one, you've put a spell over yourself or you've accepted a spell that somebody tried to put over you because you don't even think that you have powers. So if you don't think that you have powers, then how are you going to be able to truly use your powers, right? Now, what I want you to understand and understand is that one of the best ways to tap into your powers and to have more control over your powers is through meditation, right? When I started to tap in more with my psychic abilities, I was like, okay, why is everybody looking at me when I go out in public? Like, it used to really get on my nerves. She'd be like, dang, why do people keep looking at me so much when I'm out in public? Like, I don't know these people. I'm not doing nothing wrong to anybody. Why are people paying me so much mind, right? And my third eye is wide open, like really wide open. But I'm like, dang, why do people keep looking at me? Like when I'm out in public, like I'm not bothering nobody. Like, why do people just keep looking at me, right? And I wasn't I wasn't tapped in enough with my powers as if I am now. Right now, it's like, oh, okay, like I get it. I get it more. Like, okay, I have a different energy, right? Sometimes people are not just attracted to your physical, right? Sometimes people might not even be attracted to your physical. Sometimes people might just be attracted to your energy, right? This is where you get this phrase like, oh, I like personality over physical. A lot of times, sometimes that is true. Sometimes people really like the energy of you more than your actual physical appearance. And sometimes it's vice versa. Sometimes it's a complete opposite, right? Now, I used to get upset sometimes because I'm like, bro, why do people keep looking at me? Like, it would be dudes and women. Like, bro, why do these people keep looking at me? I don't even know these people. These people don't even know me. Why do they keep looking at me? But at the time, I wasn't really realizing enough that, like, yo, I'm different. I got different energy to me. I'm psychic. So I really can feel people's energy, right? Now, I'm not, now, let's keep it real. I'm not, bro, I don't know everything, right? I'm not going to sit here and say my powers can help me know everything and feel everything. No, that's not being real. No, I do not feel every single thing, but I can feel a lot of different energies, etc., right? Now, with your powers, right, you might be asking yourself, well, Ali, how do I tap into more of my powers, right? I'm going to give an example, right? Your powers might be, you might be an aerokinesis, right? An aerokinesis, you love the wind. You love being in the wind. Like, you love the air. You love being outside. And you might not even be an air sign, right? You might not even be an air sign, but you just love being out in the wind. You love trying to, like, control objects with your hands, like, or with your feet. You don't want to just like touch it with your physical, but you want to like push it or like bring it to you like that. You don't want to just touch it or whatever, right? Right. So let's break down aerokinesis. I'm not gonna get too deep into aerokinesis, but I am gonna be somewhat breaking it down in this video what aerokinesis is, right? Aerokinesis deals with like wind power, air power, stuff like that. Being able to, bring things to you, being able to start up a tornado. That's aerokinesis, right? So you might have aerokinesis, right? So, and when you are meditating, it can naturally help you have more better control with your powers. You are already in control of your powers, but a good way to have more control of your powers and have it more balanced out and have it more efficient, etc., is a good way through meditation, right? Now look, right? Now, we have been programmed and we have been brainwashed to think that we are all human beings. That is a lie. That is a very, very big lie, right? If you are so-called black, first of all, you were not black. You can go look up the terminology of black. You have nothing to do with black. You are not black. You are a goddess. You are a god. Now, let's get more deeper, right? Now, some black people are demigods. Now, if you are a demigod, you are still a god, right? You are still a goddess, you are still a god, but you would be considered a half god or a hybrid, right? Or a mixed breed, right? In other words, basically what this means is somebody in your family, right? Somebody had sex with somebody, right? And that created hybrid, right? Or your mixed breed or your mulattoes, right? Etc. But you are still a god, you are still a goddess, right? It's just you are a god, you are a goddess, but you have another race in your genetics as well. But you're still a god, you're still a goddess. You're still one of the gods. You're still one of the goddesses. You still have the abilities like how other, you can still tap into stuff, etc. Right now, right now, a lot of demigods are light skinned, right? Or you want to say light skinned, right? In reality, you're not light skinned, you're not dark skinned, you're not brown skinned, you're not caramel. In reality, you are a god, you are a goddess. If you just want to get more technical with it, you don't have to put oh, I'm light skinned, oh, I'm dark skinned, oh, I'm da-da-da, I'm da-da. You're a god, you're a goddess. That's what you are, right? And you don't even have to go by a demigod, but that's breaking it down even more if you want to be more genetic. If you want to break it down more genetically speaking, right? A lot of people are hybrids, right? Now a hybrid, you don't necessarily have to be black to be a hybrid, right? For an example, right? Let's say your mother is Italian, right? No. Let's say your mother is Asian, right? Okay, cool. Now let's say your dad is Jamaican, right? Since they created you, you are considered a hybrid, right? You're still a god, you're still a goddess because your dad's a god. So you're still a god or a goddess. But you would be considered a hybrid, right? A lot of scientists talk about hybrid, right? You might have heard of hybrid in school, or maybe you didn't, right? But what a hybrid is where two different genetics or more than two come together and they create something, right? I'll give another example of a hybrid, right? Let's talk animal based, right? Another example of a hybrid would be like, let's see. We could say like, we could say maybe like we could say maybe like, okay, so look, I'm gonna give an example of a hybrid in a animal form, right? Let's say a cat, right? Let's say a cat. No. Let's say this, right? I'll give an example of what a hybrid might be, right? Now, I actually could be wrong on this, right? Let's look at a kangaroo, right? If you look at a kangaroo, right, the kangaroo has the physique of a god. They literally have the god physique somewhat, but they also have like this humanoid, animal-like body, though. But if you look at a kangaroo closely in the face, it kind of looks like a camel, doesn't it? Right? It kind of looks like a camel. Their face kind of looks like a camel. Their ears kind of look like a cat's ears, right? Kangaroos are probably hybrids. I wouldn't be too surprised. They look, if you really pay attention to kangaroos and really look at them, scientifically speaking. I'm not a scientist, but I'm very deep into science, certain science, right? Of course I am. I'm spirituality, etc. I'm psychic. It makes sense, right? Spirituality and science is the same thing. Why? Because one, first of all, everything is energy. Everything is connected. Two, there is no science without spirituality. You see what I'm saying? Science comes from spirituality, literally, right? Now, another thing is too, everybody's spiritual. How is everybody spiritual? Because everybody is alive. So if you are alive, that means you're spiritual. Isn't that spiritual? You're alive. That is spiritual. Exactly. Everybody is spiritual. Now, everybody might not be into spirituality or meditating or, yoga, vegan, vegetarian, alkaline diet, etc. But everybody is spiritual, though. That's just genetically speaking, right? So if you really pay a close attention to a kangaroo, right, it kind of looks like a camel in the face. The ears kind of look like a cat, right? If you look at the chest and kind of abs area, It kind of looks like a human being or like a god physique, kind of, right? Kind of looks like our physique, right? You know, so kangaroos might be a hybrid. Now, like I said earlier, I might be incorrect on that. I don't really study kangaroos or nothing like that, so I could be incorrect. Kangaroos might not be a hybrid, but if you really pay attention to a kangaroo, they do look like they carry multiple different features and multiple different characteristics from other animals, right? Now, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, right? Now, for an example, if you have a dog, right? Let's say you have a dog, right? If you have a dog, your dog, that's not your dogs, their ancestors come from like wolves or coyotes or something in that area, right? Now, when it comes to a lot of people are hybrids, right? Why are so many people hybrids? I'm gonna be real with you. A lot of the reasons why is because of slavery. When slavery took place, this is where a lot of your light skin started to come into place, right? You got to think about it. This is, bro, back in the day, like way back in the day, there was no winter, there was no summer, there was no fall. It was just hot. This is a tropical planet. Most of this planet is filled with water, right? Oh, nah, bro, winter is real. Okay, so how did our ancestors survive back then? Our ancestors barely even wore clothes at certain points. What are you talking about? Winter is man-made. I've already decoded that. I've already broke that down multiple times before, right? And you can go do your own research on that if you would like, right? And I mean that with respect, of course. Now, look, right? So with hybrids, right? A lot of hybrids took place during slavery, right? This is where you get a lot of your mulattoes, your half-breeds, your half-gods, right? This is where you get a lot of your light skins, right? A lot of light skins started to come into play during slavery. Why? Because a lot of these Caucasians, they wanted to have sex with us. And a lot of them did. And this is why a lot of people now are light skinned, right? Now, I'm not going to sit there and say light skinned people wasn't here before slavery. But what I will say is a lot of us light skins came into play once slavery took place, right? This is why a lot of people now are mixed. You see a lot of mixed people nowadays, right? A lot of that comes from slavery, right? I'm just being honest with you, bro. Now, with an albino person, I don't know a whole lot about albino people. Even though they're still goddesses, they're still gods, right? I'm not going to sit here and act like they're not, right? Now, with albinos are still gods. They're still goddesses. It's just their skin, their pigmentation is obviously clearly different in a sense or in a way, but they are still goddesses. They are still gods. They still have the features. They still have the genetics. They're still very powerful, strong, wise, smart, etc. They still have superpowers, etc. It's something with their genetics or skin or whatever. But they are still goddesses and gods, right? So albino, we really don't have to call them albino. We really can just call them gods and goddesses because they're still goddesses and gods, right? If you are a Latino, a lot of Latinos, a lot of them are goddesses and gods. In other words, a lot of them are black, right? So, right, there are, and I might do a part 2 on this, but there are files, right? There's multiple different files on black people, right? And these people who so-called rule this world, these so-called elites, or as a lot of people know them as higher-ups, a lot of these higher-ups, a lot of these elites, they know that black people are gods. Excuse me. Why do you think they watch this all the time? Right? I'm going to get deeper, so if you want to leave, you can, because I'm going to get deeper. Why do you think they watch this all the time? Right now, I'm being watched. Yes. You're being watched all the time. Even if you're out in nature, you're probably still being watched. They have cameras in nature. Yes, they do. They have cameras in nature. They have cameras in our houses, right? Right? When you chilling with your girl, your homeboy, or whatever, at the crib, whatever, if y'all have cell phones on you, they are tracking you and they are able to hear you through the cell phones, etc. If you have a smart refrigerator, if you have a smart TV, etc., they can track you. This is why a lot of people who be in jail or they be on house arrest and they try to go on the run, this is why it be so simple sometimes for the cops to catch them, because you running around with the phone. That's one of the listen, bro, I'm not sitting here telling you to run away and cut your band off. I'm not saying that. Neither am I trying to help you. Neither am I trying to help you escape and get all on the run or whatever. But what I am saying is that a lot of times, while I'm using this as an example, right? I'm not trying to recommend anything negative. But what I'm saying is that A lot of times, while a lot of people who are in jail or on house arrest, a lot of times, why people who are on house arrest get caught, even if they do cut their house arrest rubber band or whatever, not rubber band, but like their bracelet or whatever, right? Bracelet or whatever, is because you are traveling with some type of cell phone device. They can track that cell phone device and then find you, right? They can see everywhere where you're moving because you got your phone with you. You see what I'm saying? You got your phone with you. So they can see. So even right now, they're watching me right now. They're watching you right now. We're always being watched. The people who so-called are in power, the people who so-called rule this world, they constantly watch us because we are goddesses and gods. And they know that. And we know that. It's just a lot of us, we've been brainwashed. We've been manipulated. So a lot of us don't remember off the top of our heads. But deep within ourselves, we still know we goddesses and gods. You gotta really dig deep because we done been brainwashed. We done been manipulated. A lot of people is under spells and they don't even realize it, bro. You see what I'm saying? For real. You feel me? Now what I want y'all to understand and understand, right, is that the thing is, and they watch us for multiple different reasons, not just because we're goddesses and gods, but that is one of the main reasons why they watch us, right? Another thing too, what a lot of people don't realize is, right, cloning is real. A lot of people don't think cloning is real. If you eat meat, you've probably maybe have eaten a clone animal that's not even actually a real animal, right? That you can literally look this up. Is animal cloning real? You can just type that in. Is animal cloning real, right? And it'll show you different lists of information and different things, right? They've been cloning animals for a very long time, right? It's just recently came out to where, cloning people. They've been cloning people. You think, so they can clone animals. You don't think they can clone a person? They can clone, thank you for the like, they can clone people. I mean, they can clone animals. You don't think they can clone a person? Come on, bro. If they can clone animals, you don't think that they can clone, you don't think that they can't clone a person? They've been cloning people. They've been cloning us. When you gave those people your blood, what you think they did with your blood? When you went to the doctor and you gave those people your blood, if they got your blood, or if they got certain strands of your hair or of your ether, they can clone you. Or if they got certain samples of your bones, etc., they can clone you. It can take a whole lot, but the main thing you need to clone somebody is really their blood, because your blood carries your genetics. Your blood carries a lot. You could do hair, you could do ether, but if you really want a good clone, you're going to want to go for that blood. Or if you really want to make a good clone, you're going to go for the hair and the blood. You might want a mixture. You might want to do a mixture. Now, I don't recommend people to go cloning and do all that. I don't really I'm not going to say do it, and I'm not going to say don't do it. That is totally up to you, right? Like I've said multiple times, whatever energy you give out, that's the same energy you get back in return, right? Every single time. You are the karma. You are the one that gives yourself karma, in other words, right? And I might make a whole part 2 on this, because it's a lot it's a lot that needs to be talked about this whole thing. But yes, y'all, black people, you are not black. You can go look up the terminology. You can go look up the definition of the word black, B-L-A-C-K. You are not black. White people, you are also not white. You can go look up the definition, the terminology of white. You are not white. You are a Caucasian, right? Your ancestors, a lot of white people, a lot of y'all's ancestors come from the Neanderthals, the Homo sapiens, right? You see what I'm saying? Right? If you go look at a white homeless person, and then you go look at a Neanderthal or Caucasian, why do they look so similar? And I mean no disrespect to people who, maybe aren't in the most financial state at the moment. But I'm using that as an example, right? Why do you think they look so similar? Right? And if you really actually do research, they've actually found that some white people, some Caucasians, some of their ancestors actually are the Neanderthals or Homo sapiens, right? One of the two, right? Or both, if not both. Now look, right? Now, if you ever seen the movie Ice Age, to talk about the Neanderthals or the Homo sapiens, right? Even though the Neanderthals and the Homo sapiens are kind of like cousins or whatever, maybe, right? The Homo sapiens, right? They kind of look like a monkey or like an ape or whatever, but they still have like this humanoid like features, right? The thing is, right? Us black people, we are goddesses and gods, right? White people, Asians, Dravidians, Arabs, Mexicans, any type of human being, we trained y'all. We taught y'all a lot of what y'all know today. Just being honest. A lot of y'all's ancestors was literally really like bent down, even further than this, and didn't know how to properly stand, didn't know how to properly. I'm just being honest with you, bro. I'm not saying that to try to make you guys look bad. No, I'm being honest with you. Your parents never told you this information because they don't know. A lot of white people don't know where they come from. A lot of Asians, Dravidians, Mexicans, a lot of them don't know where they actually come from. No, y'all don't. A lot of y'all don't, bro. You know what I'm saying? And this system has been designed to make you think that you don't know. The Matrix has designed it to try to make it to where it seems like what they tell you is right, but a lot of the stuff that they're telling you is really wrong. So before I end this live in a little bit, I'm gonna touch base on like facilities, like scientific facilities or testing facilities, right? Maybe so, right? So when it comes to us goddesses and gods, we have superpowers. Now, like I've said, everybody has superpowers. But if you are a goddess, if you are a god, your superpower is way stronger than like a human superpowers. Most of the time, black people's powers are always going to be stronger than any other human being's powers for the most part. Because our genetics are designed way more better. I don't say that to be disrespectful. It's the honest truth. We're just naturally the better option. Just the honest truth. We're just naturally better. Right? If you go, in a good example of that you can look at sports. Who's the fastest in sports? Black person. Who's the best basketball player in black person? Who's the best hitter in baseball? Black person, etc. We are very athletic. Now, you human beings, you guys are athletic. Don't get me wrong. Remember, you come from us. So, of course, you're going to be somewhat athletic. You come from us, right? But a lot of these scientists who get paid very largely amounts of income, very largely amounts of money, right, who are agents or whatever the case may be, a lot of them get paid very well to study and do research and tamper and contort and poke at us gods and goddesses, right? A lot of kid trafficking, or like, I don't think I'm saying that correctly, but a lot of trafficking, what I mean by trafficking is a lot of times, like when people go missing, a lot of times people aren't really going missing. A lot of times what's going on is that they're vibrating so high, or this individual has like some really strong powers that they haven't even fully tapped into. And they're like, oh, we got to go get this one. Because if we leave her and we don't come get her, she can start a whole tornado. She can start a whole earthquake if she wanted to. If we don't come get him, you see what I'm saying? If we don't come get him, you see what I'm saying? Etc. Now, what's up, Kyler? Now look, right? Now, a lot of people have been abducted. It's basically what I'm saying. But why, Ali? Why would they be abducted? Abducted. I'm saying it wrong. A lot of the reasons why a lot of people get abducted is because they are a god. They are a goddess. And when you vibrate really high, they want to keep you distracted. So even if they don't try to abduct you or whatever, they're still going to like try to keep you distracted. Right? You see what I'm saying? I'll give an example, right? I'm not going to get too deep into it. I have nothing against no one. I don't beef with anyone. I am a god. I am that I am. I am Ali. Why would I beef with anyone? Why would I go against somebody? I don't agree with everything that people say, but I don't dislike you. I'm not going against you. No, bro. We are all reflections of each other. We're all different, but we're all reflections of each other. Why would I dislike you? Why would I envy you? Why would I hate you? No, I don't. I don't, bro. I really don't. Now, right? What a lot of people don't realize is that the thing is that with with this matrix, right? A lot of people vibrate very high. What a lot of y'all don't realize is they got documents on all of us. Did he say documents? Yes, I said documents. They got documents on me. They got documents on me. They know like certain things that I'm real good at. They got documents on you with your name. Okay, these are all these abilities. We got this. Very athletic. Da da da. He used to play basketball. Da da da. He used to do this. Da da da. For real. A lot of things that you have done in your life, they have it documented, bro. I'm telling you. They have you documented. They have you under a certain list. I'm telling you, bro. You think it stopped with... A lot of y'all think the FBI is so cold and they just so weird. They know so much information. Man, the FBI only know a smidget. The FBI, they only know a smidget. They're pawns. They're like the first, second piece on the board, bro. They get a smidget of... They're not even... FBI, if you are watching this video, no disrespect to your job, but bro, they're not even letting you access they're not even letting you access their real good, I mean, really good technology. They're good resources. You're not getting that. They're not going to let you get that far. They may not let you get that. You may not get that far. I'm telling you. The FBI is more so a cover-up. The FBI is more so a pawn. Yes, the FBI has, they could watch you. They could, find out where you live, etc. But they are pawns. They seem to come off as if they're just so powerful, but in reality, they're really not. They're really not as powerful as you think they are. That's what I'm saying. Now, right? So, another thing is too, right, with documents, and I might make a whole live video, or I might make a whole YouTube video talking about this, right? I might make a whole video talking more about this. But excuse me. A lot of us, if not all of us, are on documents. Right? Why do you think you get asked so much for your date of birth? Right? Social security number. Zip code. What's your name? What's your first name? How tall are you? What's your height? All of that goes into the system. All that goes into your folder. Yes, your folder. That goes into your folder. What you think? They just asking you this just to ask you that? No, this goes into your folder. They can scan your energy and see what type of, like, okay, she's more of like a telepathic type vibe. Now, obviously, even though they watch us all the time, they don't know everything about us, right? But they can tap into certain information about us, though, but they can't tap into all of it. No, they can't. You can't, because you are not us. You are not a goddess. You're not a god. You cannot do that. And not just that, you aren't us. You're your own person. I'm my own person. We are our own person. We are our own beings, right? Now, right, with that being said, right, a lot of these babies, right, when they first come out the womb, a lot of them are getting hit with so many different shots, right? Then you're trying to figure out why, as soon as they get done giving your baby the shots or whatever, you're trying to figure out why something's wrong with your baby, or why you think something wrong with your baby. Was something wrong with your baby, or was your baby perfectly fine? Then the doctor sneaked off in the back. Why couldn't they do whatever they were doing in front of you? Right? Look, bro. I'm about to end the live, but look, bro. The FBI, they are pawns. The real objective, the real people who are really running the world is your higher ups, your elites, right? They're the reptilian Yakub, really. If you like, bro, really Yakub, really, right? And who's Yakub? Who's Yakub? Satan, the devil, Jesus. These are all the same individuals, etc. These are all the same individuals. Jacob from the Bible. Yes, Jacob. Dang, Jacob, Yakub. They kind of have the same name, don't they? Isn't the spelling almost the exact same? You see what I'm saying, bro? But look, man, I could go even deeper, bro. But look, bro. before I end up this live, don't ever believe everything that I say. Don't ever believe anything that anybody says. Don't ever believe don't ever believe everything that somebody says out their mouth. Don't ever believe everything I say out of my mouth. Don't ever believe everything out of a book as well, right? I recommend you to do your own research. I recommend you to question your reality in good, positive ways. Obviously, I don't want you to get on no weird stuff, no low level, low energy vibration, obviously. And also another thing is too, right, is that everybody is not your friend. Everybody does not love you. Everybody's not rooting for you. It's just the honest truth, bro. But that's okay, right? All you need is you and God, or universe, Allah, Most High, Source, right? Whatever name you want to call it, bro. It's the same. It goes back to the same energy. It goes back to the same energy, bro. Right? Remember, you are in control of your reality. Nobody's in control of your reality but you. You might want to keep that in mind. But look, man, I do appreciate everybody joining the live. Like I said, this live will be getting uploaded to my YouTube channel either sometime today or sometime tomorrow. I do appreciate everybody joining the live. And yeah, man, peace to all.